Hello, what's up, guys? This is Andrew, and you're listening to the Movie Buffs podcast. This is a debut episode of sorts, so hopefully you like it. We're going to be talking today about the 1976 Martin Scorsese classic, Taxi Driver. This is a new sort of thing I'm going to try out, so hopefully you like it. If you don't know me, my name's Andrew. I run a video game slash anime slash music channel on YouTube. I generally talk about films a little bit. I've only, I think, had 2 videos now, roughly. But yeah, hopefully enjoy this podcast. I think I'm going to post it on the my film sort of channel. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about Taxi Driver, like I said. First off, the plot, for anyone that is not aware, is about a taxi driver who is a veteran Marine from the Vietnam War, I believe. It's never really shown, but yeah, he comes back to New York, and all sorts of things happen. And the spoiler cast, by the way. If anyone hasn't seen Taxi Driver, this is specifically for fans. Also, if you think I do a good enough job explaining it, you can stick around. But this is mostly a fan sort of a thing. So if you like Taxi Driver, stick around. If you haven't seen it, I highly suggest you go to see it. Not just because it's a good movie. Fantastic movie, by the way. It's probably my favorite movie. That's why I want to start off this podcast more or less with Taxi Driver. But also, Taxi Driver is a really it will help you to watch Taxi Driver to understand this podcast. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. Like I said, the plot. Travis Bickle is coming back to New York City after being on a tour of duty. And he just basically feels really lonely in New York. He works as a taxi driver, as the title implies. And throughout the movie, he just gets progressively more insane, leading to a shootout near the end where he kills a couple people. Again, spoilers if you didn't already know. So that ruins the movie if you haven't seen it yet. But he's one of the most interesting protagonists on film. I'll say that for a fact. So yeah, this podcast is going to be very casual. I'm going to do a bit of analysis, but also a bit of sort of like rambling. So hopefully you like to hear me talk. So far, this podcast is going to be solo. I'm the only one I know in my sort of friends group that likes movies dedicatedly. So I'm going to just be talking by myself. So hopefully you like this. Okay. So why? Let me see here. Why do I like Taxi Driver? Cinematography, beautiful. The few fight scenes there are shot very realistically. They're shot very stylishly. It's like a mix of stylish and realistic, I would say. A very, very, very good cinematography by Martin Scorsese. This is him coming off, I think, I believe it is his 3rd or 4th official movie in his filmography. And what a movie to come out. Like, he made Mean Streets a couple years before this, I believe, and that's, in my opinion, I haven't watched it in a while, but it is a decent movie, good gangster flick to rewatch. I think it gets a lot more praise than it should, but very good gangster movie. But Taxi Driver, what a step up. He made almost an entire genre of movies for like the isolated male kind of 15 to 25 crowd. This influenced a lot of directors, actors, creative people. It's such a memorable movie. The symbolism, the storytelling, it's always endearing. One thing that stuck out to me as I was rewatching it was the brands don't always stay with you, but the emotions of Travis, they always, carry weight. Everyone feels alone at some point, right? So everyone can relate to Travis Bickle, even if it's not to the extent of wanting to kill someone, of course, out of jealousy and or frustration. You relate to Travis on a personal level because you relate to his struggle, as a male who is struggling to find work here and there, awkward with his friends at work, awkward with his romantic interest, awkward with his friends. He's a very relatable person to a lot of people. So I understand why this movie boomed in the 70s. I heard it sold very, very well when it came out in the 70s, and it sold even better when there was a reshowing of it in the mid to late 2000s, I think. There was a couple of reshowings. If anyone's curious, we're talking about the Blu-ray version here today, but all the versions of Taxi Driver are good. I don't think I'm not too familiar on the formats to watch Taxi Driver, but I believe the VHS is pretty good. I believe each DVD version is pretty great. I think they're all pretty much supervised by Martin Scorsese, so you're never going to get a bad version of Taxi Driver. So if you can find it, it's pretty cheap. $10 to $15 for a decent Blu-ray copy and or like DVD copy at your local HMV or a record store or music store or if you video store, if you still have those in your hometown. But yeah, totally recommend picking up a DVD, even if you don't like taking DVDs, because this is a movie that is a little hard to get online, at least in a good at least in a good kind of condition, I guess you could say, or a good for to sort of stream. So if you can, I would get I would just get the Blu-ray and or the DVD. So anyway, back to Taxi Driver, the movie specifically. I'm just gonna list off some things I like about it. This is mostly gonna be a fan cast. I might talk about like cons I have with this movie. But this is mostly just like me, like, for lack of a better term, fanboying about Taxi Driver. So its effect on movies. How has it affected movies? Let's see about that. Quentin Tarantino, I know it's one of his favorite films. He actually has a short analysis that's about 10 minutes of Taxi Driver on his not his YouTube channel, but it's floating around YouTube somewhere. I'll be sure to link that. But yeah, more things about Taxi Driver. The cinematic opening, very artsy, very kind of like classy 70s stuff. Love it. Love the hand painted cover of the Blu-ray edition. I'm looking at the 40th anniversary edition, whatever that was. It comes with a Blu-ray and digital format and a DVD. It's a very good edition. It's the one I like. I got it for my birthday, 17th birthday, I think. Yeah. The first time I watched Taxi Driver, it changed me dramatically. Like it was the first time I really related to a protagonist in a movie, like almost spiritually, but definitely like, for the themes. Funny thing about this movie, I think I just have a Canadian copyright, and all of our DVDs or Blu-rays need to be pressed in Canadian, English, and French. So the French name for this movie is Chauffeur de Taxi, and I don't think that's a very good name. It doesn't really do it justice. It sounds like a job, right? I don't know. If any of you know French, it sounds like more of a job than a movie title. Taxi Driver is a very good movie title, though. Just from looking at the box art, I might analyze the box art a little bit here. Just from looking at the box art, you are drawn in by Travis. This is like, what is he? Like, he's wearing a belt buckle. So is he like a traditional American? Is he what's his political standpoint? Is he I feel like people that wear belt buckles are generally considered to be from the South. Although I'm not too sure about that, but I think that's correct. He wears a plaid shirt, so he's very. Even in the 70s, this guy stands out as being a lot more fancy than the people around him. At least I saw in the movie. He, even though he's the main character, he takes up a lot of the frame just because of how different he dresses. He always wears these military fatigues. He always like mixes that with his regular sort of outfits. His outfit is interesting because it's just so classy, right? He always one of the things Travis does throughout the movie that I'll probably reference again is he mixes himself with the wrong crowd of people, but also he doesn't fit in anywhere, right? He doesn't fit in with the normal people, and he doesn't fit in with the weirdos, for more or less, for lack of a better term. He doesn't fit in with the heroin dealers, the gun dealers, the crack dealers. He doesn't fit, but he also doesn't fit in with the the business people. In the movie, there's this romantic interest of his for a couple scenes, I guess you could say, for maybe like 30 minutes of the movie, and you could see him interacting with his romantic, I guess you could say, interest, Betsy. It's the only female and or friend he has in the movie I would consider a friend, other than maybe his taxi driver buddies, but I think he only knows them like lightly, so I would consider Betsy his only friend for part of the movie until they have like their quote unquote breakup, I guess you could say, if you consider them to be dating in the movie. And they don't get along very well. But where was I going with this? I believe I was talking about his mixed personality. He does not fit in with the rich crowd, and he doesn't fit in with the poorer crowd. Like I said, the people that live in like the lower kind of income in New York. So he doesn't fit in on either spectrum, but he judges everyone equally. He judges the rich and the popular for not being more inclusive of the weirdos the weirdos of society, basically the people that are on the outside, the people that are a little awkward. And Travis revels almost in his awkwardness in a sadistic way. There's one scene where he's talking to this security guard, I guess you could say, at a protest or a rally, and he's just milking every bit of it. He's talking to if any of you are curious what I'm talking about, it's the one where he's first talking to a security guard about joining the special forces, I guess, or the whatever the security guard is a part of. And the security guard sort of says he plays it off like he's how do I explain this? The security guard plays it off like he's stupid, but Travis is actually the one that's a lot smarter than the security guard. It's kind of a how do I say this? It's kind of like a perspective thing. You could say Travis is really intelligent, or you could say he's really dumb. He's definitely unaware that he's ironic. He does a lot of contradictions in the movie. Like, he wants to get fit, but he eats a lot of junk food. He wants to girls to like him, but he takes them to porno theaters. He contradicts himself constantly, and he is aware of it. But he's a little sadistic. He likes to contradict himself. Some of my favorite characters in the movie are, of course, Travis. He's infinitely relatable. Any teenager growing up in high school would probably relate to Travis. That's a little awkward. Travis is a really good character, but also the perfect stereotype, or like sorry, I don't mean stereotype. He's the perfect sort of body image that like an angsty sort of young adult male would want to fit into. He's cool, for lack of a better word. He likes guns. He is good looking. He is a vet, so a lot of people like a manly sort of man. He's sensitive also. He likes things like, I don't know. He tries to treat girls with respect. He's a good person for relatively, at least through the first half of the movie, I guess you could say. So until about the hour mark. One thing about the movie is from the very beginning, almost you could see his evil, not evil, maybe not evil, but misguided intentions. He is. I discussed this with a friend earlier, but he's almost like a wavelength, like away from everybody else in society. He is always distant. He's never close to anyone, and that's purposefully. He does that to himself. And so by the end of the movie, when he kills because he's so frustrated, that's almost because, he does that to himself. He frustrates himself to the point where he actually wants to kill someone. You know what I mean? Like he contradicts himself in the sense that he doesn't want to associate with poor or bad people, I guess you could say. But he constantly goes to see this underage prostitute purposefully, and also interacts with her pimp in a positive manner. So he doesn't want to. He doesn't like interacting with people in the seedy world, and he criticizes them whenever he's with his high kind of artsy friend, or not artsy, but popular kind of friends like Betsy. He's like, man, I hate the person at your work that's like, a phony, for, lack of a better term. I hate the person at your job that's a phony. But then he revels in the lower, the low life of society, right? He likes to he wants a gun, but he doesn't. Like he goes to see this dealer called Easy Andy, who's like a dealer of like all sorts of things, from drugs to cars to guns. And Travis has this obsession with a 44 Magnum, and he goes to Easy Andy to get the Magnum. But as soon as Travis is caught in a situation where he's talking about drugs, he is backing away. He's really conversational with Easy Andy when he's trying to buy guns, but as soon as Easy Andy brings up heroin and or a car, he backs away from Easy Andy, almost like he's better than him. So Travis has these weird stereotypes. He thinks he is beyond everybody or above everybody. I would like Travis more as a protagonist. I like him already because he's so relatable and it's such a good character study, but I like him in the fact that he is the everyman, but also you can see where he contradicts himself. If you are a avid film watcher and you are a good person, basically, you can see how his philosophy would not work in real life. He contradicts himself constantly. Like I said, he works out, but he eats candy. What's another good example? Hold on, guys. Just the main premise, actually, that he taxi drives. He taxi drives in seedy areas of New York City, and the worst areas. But he says at the beginning of the movie, and I quote, "I work anytime, anywhere." And he fulfills that, but he's not happy, he's not content. He pretends to be content on the outside, but secretly he's sort of passive aggressive against everyone he knows. He's also, it's debatable, but I think he's a racist. He looks at every black person in the movie with like a seedy content, and he also, it's ironic that the first person he kills in a room, there's a black person and a white person, but the white person is, robbing from the store, and he kills the white person, I believe, if I remember correctly. But after he only kills white people, but I think that's on purpose. He doesn't want to seem like a racist, but he also wants to kill someone, so he goes after, what I assume he knows are white people that are seedy. So one thing that makes Travis likable throughout the whole movie is he is never a quote unquote bad person. He makes bad decisions, but I've never felt that he is a majorly bad person. He's very misguided, and I feel sad watching the movie, but he's just misguided, that's all. He's not a bad person. So I guess we'll recap it. I know this isn't a very long episode, but hopefully it works for a first podcast. Taxi Driver, I'd probably give it like a 10 out of 10. I would say that, or like a 9.9. It is my favorite movie currently as of, let me check the date, guys. Let me check the date for you. As of September 9th, 2017. It is my favorite movie of all time. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this podcast. If you want more, let me know. If you don't want more and you like my usual analysis sort of content, hopefully you, just comment either way. I don't know how many views I'm going to get on this. It's a little bit of a weird kind of thing to post to a channel, but yeah, hopefully you like this, and hope you have a good night, guys. Thanks for joining me talking about Taxi Driver. I'm Andrew, and we're signing out.
Hey guys, want to take a walk?
Loneliness has followed me my whole life, everywhere. Bars and cars, sidewalks, stores, everywhere. There's no escape from God's lonely man. June 8th. My life has taken another turn again. The days move along with regularity, over and over, one day indistinguishable from the next. A long, continuous chain. Then suddenly, there is a change.